Hello everyone, in this video we'll be continuing with the last or previous section. Today we'll understand the real interest rates. Okay, but before that I want to clarify that from Fisher's effect that 1% rise in inflation will lead to 1% rise in nominal interest rate, which means if inflation has increased by some percentage, then your nominal interest rate will also increase by the same amount. Okay, and this one-to-one relation between nominal interest rate and inflation is known as Fisher's effect. Now coming back to real interest rate, if you remember, then I said R is equal to I minus inflation, right? Where R is in real interest rate, I is nominal interest rate, and pi is inflation. Okay, eventually you will never care about how much money you got, but you will care about how much your purchasing power has increased, right? So now we'll study about the real interest rates. There are two types of real interest rate. First is ex ante and another one is ex post. Ex ante is basically related to assumption because you cannot predict the future. Okay, and ex post is when you got your results and you're just checking or is the real one. Okay, real or prevailing one. Now if you remember, I mentioned this inflation many times, but the question is, before in 2020 January you cannot expect what the inflation is going to be like, okay, for the coming year. So on this date you will assume a number. Okay, it can be related to the past trends or making some predictions and all, but you will assume, you will never know what exactly is going to be the inflation rate. So we take inflation to be E pi over here, okay, where E is your expected and pi is your inflation again. And ex post is when you reached December 2020 and realized that okay, this year we saw 10% inflation, rise in inflation. Okay, so this was your pi. While determining your interest rate, real interest rate, in this case it's going to be R is equal to I minus E pi, okay, because it's expected inflation. And in ex post is going to be R is equal to I minus pi. Now the difference between this real interest and this real interest will only be caused due to your inflation, how much you expected and what exactly it was, right? So yes, this is the thing over here. And now we can say that the formula that we were learning from that long for Fisher's equation, which is I is equal to R plus inflation, it will actually be I is equal to R plus E pi. Okay, where this now you may wonder, how can we expect? Okay, this is your according to predictions. Okay, and this real interest rate is actually determined at level of equilibrium. You remember in probably section 5.1 we learned that point where MS and MD will intersect will determine our interest rate. Okay, and this is exactly how this interest rate is determined. And so we are done with this section. In our next video we'll talk about different section. Thank you for now.